Hey, what's up, everyone? I just wanted to go over Bitcoin and where I think it's headed based upon where it's currently out using the trade setups that I use to personally trade now for Bitcoin. I do not trade it. I do not day trade it. It's more of a long term. Oh, it is a long term hold that I have for it. So I'm only looking at the daily, even the weekly, and the shortest time frame would be the 4-hour time chart. But starting out with the daily time chart, daily time frame right here. I'll zoom out here a little bit. So let me turn on this thing right here. Get the color pointer. There we go. You can see it's got the 5-wave. L8 moves up, 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 and then you have one down, and we're currently in the middle of another one right now, the 5th wave move. So I am looking for price to eventually move back up to this 38% line. If price continues to move down, we'll just move the Fibonacci retracement lower to it, but currently that's the low. So the area we're looking for to consider this 5-wave move to be complete would be 29,195 for that one right there. We can see over here when we had the red symbol for form, then when we have the 50 EMA, which is a red line, cross over the 200 EMA, which is a blue line, that signals that we're looking for more movement for the downside. So the signal would have been probably around that bar right there. Went away a little bit for it, but then as you can see, it has clearly taken off and created way more moves down to the bottom. Take that off of there. There is one short setup it is in using the daily chart. Personally, I don't think it's going to go down there and get hit because show you what it is. So when price closes below the green line right here, that is the signal to go short. And for this trade to be null and void is when price closes above this blue line right here. You see it got pretty close but bounced right off of it. So the exit will be down here, this white line down over here, this around the 12,000s or so. That keeps on going lower the more time that goes over. So it's really going to take a big, pretty big push down for this trade to be a successful short setup for it. And as you can see, it's got less room to go here to the upside for it to cancel it out. So that's why I think this trade, it's not one I would be taking short by any means, but just wanted to point that out for it. Going over to the 4-hour chart, obviously there's going to be more movement in it. You can see we've had a couple of red symbol force form ever since the high up there, which you see from the daily chart. But here in the 4-hour chart, you can see we had one right here. About here was the EMA crossover. We'll say it's worst case scenario. It's this long green candle right here. Again, at the very top, still went up about another 1,000 points or so for Bitcoin or dollars, whatever. And before it finally started resuming its trend back down. Here you have the EMA crossover probably about right there on that bar. So when that happened, let me zoom out a little bit. So when that happened right here, price had a good run down here, another close to about $3,000 before it retraced a little bit, but then continued to move back on down again to the lows about 3,500 for that one right there. But since we're using this red symbol for, that's the latest one. The one at the bottom has not formed yet, signaling to us that the move to the downside is over. So that's why I'm still looking for more short-term, more movement to the downside, both on the daily and the 4-hour chart. But there were a couple setups. I'll go over this real quick using the inside pitchfork. So when price closed below that green line, which is right here, price continued to move down, hit the white line. That's the exit. So that was, how much was that one? That one was about $2,000 right there for that one. And then, I didn't take these trades. Like I said, I don't short Bitcoin. If I do trade Bitcoin, it's only buying it, going long for it. But there's another current one that it is in for the short side, which is going to be this one. So when price closed below the green line right here, that's a short. Looked like it was going to rocket down, but didn't. Came bounce off of it. It's still is a live trade because price is not closed above the blue line right here, which would end that trade setup. So if it is going to go down here and hit and be successful, we're looking for the white line to come down here and be hit, which is, you know, somewhere between about $16,000 for it. It's currently at 19,155, so this is what, 16,645, sliding down. So that's what we'd be looking for, that one. But obviously it has less room to move to cancel the trade out, to be null and void, for it to close over the blue line right here, which is about at 19,935 currently from where it's at. But just want to point out that there is a 4-hour chart short setup as well, which, you know, makes sense because we haven't had a red semaphore form down here in the 4-hour chart, and of course we haven't had one form down here in the daily chart as well. So that's why I'm still expecting, until price starts breaking out of these short setups and canceling them out, then, you know, the bias will be more short term to the downside. But when price finally does break out of all these short-term setups and gets over the hump, you know, looking for it to come up and complete this 5-way L8 move to at least the 29,000 level. If this remains the low for it, it can of course go higher than the 29,000 level, but that's just the level I look for to consider that 5-way move to be over. Looking at the overbought, oversold indicator down here, the MFI money flow index, it really doesn't show us anything. It's middle of for the daily chart. It's in the middle of no man's land, so it doesn't show us anything good. But if you look at the weekly chart, it is interesting because here you can see it went to the oversold territory right down in here, but you really didn't have a big pop at all. It just went right up over here, and then when it came down the oversold territory right over here in the weekly chart, again just a small little pop up, and then it continued to resume its trend down. But it has gained some momentum up before recently starting to tick back down here a little bit, but obviously being oversold really hasn't influenced it at all. You just received two little pops up before it has resumed its move down. And then looking at, I guess I can look and see real quick if there is a, no, that's it right there. Is that one it? No, this is not even a 5-way setup. We're still looking for, if you're using the weekly chart, we'd still be looking for these. There's 0, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 isn't anywhere on here right now. We're looking for a deeper retracement up over here before moving back down for the 5-way move. So even the third wave wasn't in yet because the fourth one hasn't been established. So just want to see if there's something on the weekly chart that could show what it's doing, but it's not. If this ever turns red up here, this semaphore, we see it has the yellow. You know, I'm using yellow for the pointer, but you can see it right over there. There's the yellow one. Yellow one, you have to have yellow first before it makes the red, because the yellow is secondary, the red's the primary. So the yellows make up the red. So the yellow one has formed. So we'll just see if a red one will eventually form, but it hasn't. Nothing's, I don't think, on the weekly chart. There hasn't been one red one formed yet for it. But so anyways, that's Bitcoin. Just want to show there's the short-term setups are dominating right now, especially for the short to intermediate term. But until they start getting broken to the upside, until the short setups start getting deleted, you know, still expect, you know, movement down lower. But finally, when it does break out and they get some momentum behind it, money starts flowing back into this thing. Assuming this stays the low down here, which is about 17,000, 18,000-ish over there. Looking for price to move back up at least to the $29,000 level. So that is Bitcoin. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.